west. Take the north, I'll take the south. You take the Alps, take Paris. As for me, I'll take the south. Now, whether it's Virginia, Tennessee, or sunny Caroline, any place is heaven down below that old Mason-Dixon line. You take the east.
An English gentleman of the old school, at the wheel of a car he knew intimately, when it was the latest thing on the road. Walter Kay, pioneer aviator. As a young man, he linked the more hazardous frontiers of the British Empire. Today, Mr. Kay is eager to reunite for the first time in 46 years the vehicle and the man with whom he shared an epic adventure.
Well.
Alan Gilg, leader of the Alan Gilg Trans-African Expedition of 1933.
Good God, what have you got there? How are you? Very well. God, it's good to see you. You're hardly changed at all.
How are you? I've heard so much about you.
Yes. It's their first meeting since then.
Well, a friend of mine mentioned me. Good, so I thought you'd like to sort of see what it was like.
Good God.
To think you went all that way, Alan.
It's impossible. It's such a little thing.
It's that very tiny little thing, isn't it?
God, did you know, and we had an Arab guide in the back.
Yes, I know.
Back
but where did he live? In
there. Poor devil, because we had drums of petrol.
Yes.
We had rifles, shotguns.
Yes, water.
Water. God.
But isn't it?
You know it.
It's exactly the same, isn't it?
It is the same, but look at the tiny...
We used to sleep under there.
But look how narrow they are.
Yes.
Do you remember they said we'd never get through the sand, the towers were too small?
Yes.
Well, you can see it now.
Yes.
Where did you put all your equipment? I mean, there doesn't seem to be any room anywhere.
We put it in here.
It all went in here.
It all went in here.
And the
along
bags,
the running board.
The water bags hung down there, if I remember.
That's right, yes.
Yes.
And do you remember...
Where did you put the spare
remember the flag? That's the flag you gave me.
No.
Yes.
Good. You kept that all these years.
Yes.
And there's the old cobra. Do you remember the fun we used to have with the natives?
Yes.
Oh, we used to make the little boy dare him to touch it, and then one of us would blow the horn.
That's right.
Nasty thing.
Does it feel the same?
The seat's too far back, or I've shrunk. Yes, the gears are marked exactly. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4 in reverse.
Yes, compass.
Then there's a compass.
What happens when the hood goes up? Because it looks frightening.
Well, now there, yes.
We had to have
the hood came here.
And we had topies, actually.
So we had to
take off
topies off.
Well, what does it feel like? Does it feel like your old self again?
Well, it does. I know. I'm going back in time, It's like being in a time machine. 45 years. I tell you what. How about a little spin in it?
Yes, all right.
Would you like to drive? You're the senior, after all. Yes. Yes. You'll perhaps make some coffee.
Yes, indeed, I will. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Enjoy yourselves.
Well, this.
Well done.
Now you know how we look.
Yes.
Just remember that time we once chased a porcupine?
Yes.
Because the track was so narrow, we daren't go in the elephant grass at either side.
Yes.
God.
We're off now.
You know, the engine doesn't sound too bad, you know?
Oh, no, it's very good still.
Well, when you think she was a marvelous little engine, the way she pulled through all that loose sand and over those horrible corrugated roads. And
now we're away.
We're away.
By Jove, it's...
down the lane. It must seem a bit funny to you, Walt, after all these years.
Yes, it does, really. Yes.
Do you remember we once ran through a swarm of locusts?
Yes. Oh,
I think more than once, actually. Horrible thing.
And do you remember the way we used to get the sandbags? When we came through that thick forest in the Congo, when the elephants were on the stopping on the road.
That's right,
and
yes.
he said, I don't think we'd better go on.
No,
we'd
I
better
know.
stop.
Yes.
Because they may step on us.
Yeah.
And in this little car...
I know, that wouldn't be very funny.
No.
Drive on, drive off hadn't been thought of when Alan Gilg and Walter Kay set off for their spin across darkest Africa in 1933. And they took with them a film camera, which was busy from this point on. In their day, much of the world was coloured pink because Britain owned it, and that included a fair-sized piece of Africa. But that wasn't going to help them much on their route through to Cape Town, which was planned with great care. And even more optimism.
You'd like to sit there.
Thank
and
you.
perhaps Barbara's got the coffee ready.
Yes.
Oh,
Ah,
yes,
hello,
that's very
Barbara.
well timed.
Now, how did you enjoy your trip?
Oh, we had a wonderful time together, didn't we?
We did.
It's quite an experience to be in
Must
the
be-
car again together.
Yes,
A bit
wonderful too.
different in these funny little Herefordshire lanes after all the desert and the bush and everything, isn't it?
Yes, but did you enjoy it?
Oh, I did very
yes.
much. It brought it all
Good.
back, you know.
Yes,
It was heaven.
yes,
As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever even told you, Walter,
yes.
the reason that started all this idea. I'd been turned down by a girl.
Good Lord,
I
no.
know. No, well, I didn't like to. Well, one doesn't, you know. And so
Oh,
I was going up to the
I
Lake
didn't know
District.
that.
Well, I did. She turned me down, and I was going up for the weekend to the Lake District next weekend. And I was driving the car along, feeling, you know, really cast down, you know.
yes.
And I thought, how lovely just to drive on and on, further and further away. I thought, now, how far can one drive? And gradually the idea became, well, the longest distance you can drive is all the way across Africa. I thought, well, this is a bit mad, but the idea grew and grew.
Yes.
And then I realized, well, I had just about enough money, but I needed somebody to come with me. I didn't know a thing about Africa. I was no mechanic, and somebody said, supposing you broke down in the middle of the desert.
You've been lost, wouldn't you?
So I cast around a lot of people. Well, we can't. I mean, we can't give up all that, our jobs and the time and so on. And then quite by chance, I ran into Walter.
Yes.
And we met in the Piccadilly Hotel on New Year's Eve, 1932.
You just sort of got into conversation.
Yes, and he had been to Africa. He'd been out there as about 17, I think, when you first
You
went.
told
Yes.
him about this mad idea you had.
And you were back in this country. You'd had a bit of bad luck with an aircraft, I
That's
think.
right, yes.
And you were wondering how you could get back to Africa.
Yes.
I thought, well, this is a heaven-sent opportunity.
What a coincidence.
I
Yes,
want to
it
go
was
to
really,
Africa
yeah.
and stay there. He wants to go to Africa and stay there. He knows Africa. He knows all the
And
ropes.
did he know about cars? I mean, was he a
He
mechanic?
was a first-class mechanic, which I wasn't.
Just
quite
the man
well.
for you, then.
So I think you said...
Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Why shouldn't it work?
When does this actually start, this film?
No, this
Yes.
is in Tangier. That's old Bill Lacey. Do you remember
Oh,
Bill
yes,
Lacey?
Bill Lacey.
It does start at Tangier. There we go.
Yes.
Look.
Yes.
It's incredible. It's survived. And there's that bridge over the...
Well, that looks like a railway
It
track.
is.
It's
You
a
have
railway
the road
and a
and the
road
railway
bridge.
across
You-
the...
You have to take the car.
Yes,
across.
you've
Yes.
got to be careful
yes.
there's not a train coming.
I'm going to say, nasty moment.
Yes.
This
Now, where
must
are
be-
you now?
That's a town in Morocco somewhere. It could be Fez with the water.
Is it?
Look at all those bobs on the bikes.
Yes. That's the old town.
That's the old town.
Oh, that
That's a mode of transport.
Yes.
And we never
Well,
found
quite
out
what they were supposed to be moving.
Who's having the trump?
You see the interest we're arousing already.
Well, these, they look like Turks, though, of course they're
Well,
not.
they're
No,
Arabs, of
no,
course.
no.
They're all Arabs.
We are making for
We're
where
still
now?
making for Algiers.
Oh, I see.
Algiers.
Algiers.
No, because we couldn't cross the Atlas because there was a war on. The Riffs
Oh, I see.
had risen and the Foreign Legion were fighting them, and the
That's right,
authorities
yes.
said, you can't go that way, so we had to go 900 miles out of
your
our way
way.
to Algiers and then start all over again.
The Riffs were well worth avoiding. They lurked in the mountains of Morocco, fighting both the French and the Spanish, and were known as one of the fiercest warrior tribes in the world. So their Morris 8 took a sharp turn left at Fez and detoured via Algiers.
Now look at that signpost,
Timbuktu.
2,840 kilometers.
Well, that's the train. We were very impressed with the train.
Where does the
Because it was
train
going-
come from, and where does it go to?
Well, it comes from Algiers and it goes
Straight
to
to
the...
Columbus Yard.
Yeah, that's
Is it a
right, the
freight
headquarters
train?
of the Foreign Legion.
And everybody
Taking a
clung.
carpet in there. Is that a
Yeah.
carpet?
I don't know whether they ever paid a ticket.
I don't know.
Because there was no check.
No.
And they all crowded into these carriages, you see, which were terrific. But you can see the wind.
Yes.
The wind is always in the desert. The wind is like this between 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it'd be a hot wind, I think.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible.
Very
hot,
trying.
yeah.
Very hot. See the interest there, and
Yes,
Yes.
all the arrows round
Yeah.
it. You see, we're already beginning to accumulate writing on the side.
yes.
When did you first start putting these
Well,
names
we had the Allen Gilgs expedition in 1933.
Oh, when you left Liverpool.
On the car, when we
Liverpool,
lived at
when we
Liverpool,
left.
yes.
And then people began to paint on it as we got to different places. You see, you gain the interest.
Yes.
Oh, look at that shell pump.
The horse and riders were of a touring tribe, weren't they?
Yes, they were, yes, and we were a bit wary of them.
And we were told by the French Foreign Legion that you saw any of them, go like blazes, you know, and avoid, but if you've got to shoot, shoot.
Now, this is Fort Regan. This is the
This-
last outpost
Most
on
of the
the north.
Empire, yes. This
That's
is a
lovely,
very
all
lonely
those
fort.
You see, now you're looking out across the Tanner's roof, the desert of thirst.
Yes.
And
And
this
this is where they said, well, goodbye, we hope we see you again, or hear
Not
you
thinking
again.
they
because
would.
this is
Yes.
the desert of thirst, that's what it
They
means.
call
Yes.
the desert of thirst.
So
And
right
our,
after the
our
war.
little car, our little perambulator was getting very thirsty.
Yes.
Yes.
As you could well
As
imagine.
we were, too.
Yes, and so we had to utilize what any liquid we had out of our own
What about
bodies to supply the
I know,
car.
to keep the
Yes.
car going.
Car was priority.
Well, then the extraordinary thing happened. We saw coming towards us
And-
another Morris
And,
Minor.
and we couldn't believe
We
our
couldn't
eyes.
believe our eyes.
Sort
We
of a
thought it was a
mirage,
mirage.
Yes, and we crossed right,
I know, right
in
in
the
the-
loneliest
part of the
part
desert?
of the desert.
That's
And we had to
extraordinary.
stop and look at each other. They had a two-seater and we had a
A
four-seater.
four-seater.
Quite.
When we were halfway, there's a thing called bidon sac. You can see it there, those two caravan like
Yes.
things.
Yes.
And there were 2 Arabs there, and there was a petrol pump.
Yes.
The world's loneliest petrol station, 10 shillings a gallon.
Yes.
And
And
water
we filled
was
up.
10
And
shillings.
water was about the same price. And we
10
filled
So
up.
at this stage you were able to refuel.
We
With
refueled,
petrol and water.
and we had a bit of a rest. That's
Was that
me.
you?
That's his pipe.
Yes, breaking all the rules, smoking by the petrol.
I know.
Yes, but he didn't
I nearly
mind.
blew the Sahara up.
Yes. There's nobody within 500 miles.
No. So if you go off the track, you get lost.
There must have been moments of great,
Well, it was very
discomfort,
uncomfortable because you were
I would think.
sweating and you got
Yes.
the sand all over your face and sand in your eyes, sand in your
I think it's
mouth.
incredible that the car stood
Well,
up
I
to
mean,
this
when you think of
treatment.
all that sand in
know.
the vital parts of the
Yes.
engine, it's incredible, really.
Well, it was the petrol pump which is the big...
That's what really worried you, because you were more mechanical. I thought, well, I'll leave that
If
to
that
Walter.
had packed up, what would have happened?
Well, we should have been
We should
stuck.
have still been there.
We'd still be there. I don't know.
Well,
Now, those are those tracks. If you get on the wrong tracks, as we did,
Yes.
at
You
night,
beside you.
you're in real trouble because you can
It's
be...
all the same.
yes.
There's no
flat.
distinguishing
Now, what's
mark.
he doing? That's sort of a
He
radio.
was
That's-
trying to make contact, I think, with Columbusshire.
So we don't know where we are, you see. You can almost see a hand there in the film.
I mean,
Saying, which way are you going?
we're not too certain of the track, you see. And we got lost. Our Arab guide said, we're lost, stop.
Stop.
And I said, we must signal to the bus, which is somewhere around. And we signaled towards what we thought was a light.
Yes.
Yes, now here we are at
There are
night,
the
you see.
headlights.
That's right.
And the light was going uphill.
Yeah.
And I said, there can't be any hills in the Sahara. And then we realized it's the bloody moon and we're lost. Well, I thought, that's it. Now, we're stuck in the middle of the desert. Nobody knows where we are. We shall run out of water. We shall run out of food. We'd heard all these horrible stories. I thought, we really are about the 2 craziest plots that ever created.
Yes.
But
You actually feel frightened.
We
Frightened? I
weren't
was
laughing
terrified.
anymore, I can
No,
tell you.
I'm sure you
know that...
I was worried about this engine. I was
Yes,
worried
and
about
I
the
was worried
petrol
about
pump.
my skin.
You just didn't know which track to take.
No,
But we kept on.
But the Arab did. He got out of the car and he smelt now.
Yes.
Like a dog.
Yes.
And he would sniff and say, I
what's
have
this
the
out?
right
What's
track.
this?
Well, this is the part
Then we
where
got
had to
stuck,
dig.
you see. You see, she's absolutely down in the sand there, and we both had to get out, shovel the sand away, put
The sand
sand
mat.
and push.
And when the hazards of the Sahara were behind them, more awaited in bush country.
This is how you had to fill up.
Oh,
your
I'm so
I
fed
know.
up.
They
We
were
won't
so-
get pancakes out.
They were so heavy, those damn.
Well, they're 4 gallons, you
Yeah.
see.
Now we've come out at Gao. This is Gao on the Nile
That's right,
River.
yes.
That's the first tropical town I'd ever seen.
It's not very far from Timbuktu.
No, about 200 miles.
Yes.
Now,
That's
there's
typical.
one-
That's
that's
our
our-
setup for the night.
Oh,
The
I
mosquito net. We
You
slept
slept
on
underneath.
Yes.
Who did the cooking?
I
Well,
did.
we didn't worry about cooking very much.
Well,
But
no,
it wasn't
but-
cooking. I opened the tins of sardines.
Yes.
When you get to a place like this, do you stock up with food and
Oh, yes.
fuel?
I mean,
and...
fuel and
Fuel.
anything you need.
See, coming across the desert, we've been using pills and things to save weight of
Yes.
carrying
Of food, you
you
see. So you're only too glad to get a square meal. I think this is Carno.
That's right.
Now, that's a Morris. That must be why you see the contrast, the cow and then the
Then
camel.
the camels.
And then the native market, a Carno. See all the women bearing the things on their heads.
Yes.
Very smelly, very hot.
Yes.
Yes, it was very, very bad.
What sort of temperatures would you have there?
Well,
Was
it's
it
getting up to about 110 in the
was
shade.
it uncomfortable then?
Very uncomfortable. You're sweating all the time.
What did you do about baths? You didn't.
Well, you didn't
have any.
You just smelt.
Horrid.
That's going across to Lake Chad,
That's right.
Port Lamy.
Yes.
See how wide it is.
Yes.
And you've got to get your car on that thing.
Well, that can't be
If
funny.
you don't, you're in the water.
What reward do you give them for taking across?
Well, we used to carry salt. I think salt and cigarettes were the 2 main things. Money wasn't. They weren't interested in money.
push it on. That's it. Oh, well done, yes.
How do you communicate with these people? Do they speak French?
Oh, well, they speak a sort of pidgin French.
There's the
They use
captain
sign
of the
language.
ferry. He's
Yeah.
the captain with his
You
toe.
see how he steers
Yes,
with his
Oh,
toe.
I see, yeah. They're all quite friendly, though, and willing to help, aren't they?
Yes, very helpful.
Oh, good grace, look at this.
This is in northern Nigeria.
Yes.
This is market.
How were you received? Because
Very well indeed.
they must have been very surprised to
With
see
great
you.
curiosity.
Yes. They were intrigued by the brightness of the car, I think, like the bangles.
Do you see those women with the duck bills?
Oh, those plate
Yes,
lips.
plate
Yes, plate lips. Those are from birth. They have to do that from birth.
They put a ring in, don't
That's
they?
right.
That's right.
It sort of stretches as the mouth,
That's right.
the lip grows. Horrible idea.
Horrible. It's ugly, but they think they're very beautiful.
Yes, that was
We've come to Nigeria here, and if you look here, there's all these rivers, you see. We had to cross there, and there, there again, and then we come on to the next map, and it's river after river, and all these primitive ferries.
Finding these ferries meant many detours across rough country and even more risks for the car.
Here's the car coming down to the ferry. There they are. They're holding the ropes, you see, to keep it in. So there's quite a big flow.
But they're either on your side or they're on the other, and then
Oh,
you
I
blow
see.
your horn.
Yes.
And
They sort of come
across.
out of there.
Yes.
And you see how he pulls it across? Or rather they.
Yes.
And when the rivers were behind them, they met the next hazard, the wildlife of Africa.
This is game country now.
Yeah.
We really are in the game
Yes.
country now. See, look at this lot. Yes.
You never
Oh,
felt they might be attacked by anything.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yes. We
Remember the buffalo?
Yes.
You got
Stanley
charged.
he looked to me, wanted to charge. And we weren't quite sure whether to go or stop.
No.
But we decided the best thing was to really go hard, wasn't it, Alan?
Yes, and
to
to
get
keep
away
on
from
going,
him, because
yes.
he really looked to me was just about to move.
Yes,
see?
because I had the gun trained on him, but it was
Oh, yes,
jolting up and down so much, you see.
Well, he would have smashed you completely.
Oh, he'd have knocked the car for
no.
six.
That would have been you.
That would have
gone.
been us, gone,
Yes.
finished.
By a buffalo.
That's
we
Mount
thought we were
Kenya.
going-
That's Mount
yes,
Kenya.
that's Mount Kenya. Look,
Mount
that-
Kenya sticking out of the clouds.
That was a very rare shot. They told us
Yes.
it had not been seen for 3 weeks.
Really?
And we just
Yes.
caught it. Now we're stuck in the mud. They're horrible
Right
glutinous
down to
black
the-
mud. You see, it's down to the axles.
Yes.
Yes.
Look at it. Look, plastered with it. Yeah.
Got a whole lot of help here.
Look at it, all
The
these
whole
natives.
village
They,
came out.
they just sort of appear from
They
nowhere.
appeared from nowhere because they expected backsheesh afterwards.
Oh, they did.
Oh, yes. All
Really
your
down
loose-
there.
They
all
weren't
your
doing
loose
it for the
change.
love of you.
Oh, no. They were after their rewards.
Yes.
Cigarettes, money,
Yes.
oh,
And we
kerosene.
kept a lot of salt. Salt
Oh,
was...
they love salt.
They love salt.
It's very difficult to get hold of salt in it. Ah, we're through.
Fortunately, the natives they met on the way were friendly. One tribe insisted on putting on a command performance in their honor.
The chief came and said they were going to lay it on, but they would be very honored if we would go and watch it.
Yes.
But look at those muscles jigging up.
They seem rather large natives.
They're very large.
They were very large.
Exceptionally large.
Yes.
No idea what the dance means.
Oh, no.
No. Communicate with them.
Because, well, there was the head man had a bit of pidgin French. And we kept on saying, say, formidable. And he, yes, say formidable. That's about as far as it got.
This went on for a long, long time.
I know.
We were wondering when we could get away because it was getting...
If we went on after dark, we were getting tired and tired.
Yes.
We didn't like to insult them by going to bed.
Oh,
you see, there's one of our guns.
That's our gun.
Gun, yes.
Yes, oh, yes.
We had a rifle
Yes.
and a shotgun, a 12-bore, and 2 revolvers.
2 revolvers.
Yeah. Oh, now
That's a forest fire. Now, this really shook us.
Yes,
Because this really was dangerous.
It was all round us. And we
It was all round us. We didn't know which way to go.
We had
And
engulfed
if we
in
caught fire, we had no way of getting out of that.
Now, that's typical of the elephant grass, as they call it. And that's supposed to be the Great North Road.
Yes, that's the best road in Africa.
Well, how far did you have to travel through that sort of stuff?
About 100, 200
How
miles.
wearing.
Yes.
Such a small car could stand up to
There
the
should have been a
treatment, I
bridge
don't
here,
know.
but it's been washed away by the weather.
The strain there must have been
Yes,
on the
well, of course.
steering.
Come on, we've got some help.
Oh,
Yes,
you're right
as
now.
usual, help comes.
Push.
I thought this was the end. I thought, well, she'll never survive this. All the springs would have gone, and the axle. I thought, really, having got so far, it's a bit much.
Come on, shove.
Look at the punishment the poor thing's taking.
How it ever stood it, I
But
don't
you
know.
see, she's still going on.
Yes. Well, how many miles would you travel in this sort of country?
Well, some days we wouldn't do more than sometimes 4 or 5 miles, wouldn't we?
I know.
That's just a lot of trouble with the springs.
And the ferries.
Shot
Oh, I
one or
remember
two.
this. Do you remember
Yes,
the show, Miss?
yes.
No, not-
The old bull knows Morris, and he lifts his hat. Yes,
Right
that's
there,
right.
yes.
There he goes.
Say good afternoon to
Ha,
us.
ha, ha.
That's an Atlanta aircraft.
Yes.
And that was one of the first airmail aircraft going from London to Cape Town.
They've got tower trouble.
Yes, they've got tower trouble. Everybody has tower trouble in Africa. In those. He'd taken about 9 days on the trip to get here.
We'd
And
taken about 4 months.
We'd taken 4 months.
4 months of living rough for men and machine. The next leg through Central Africa was the worst. There were times when they doubted their ability to reach civilization, and morale was at its lowest.
Oh, that was what he was fed up. He changed 2 tires already that day. He said, to hell with it.
Who was the most interesting person you met
No, that's
through the
not
whole trip?
I think Major Grogan was the most interesting
yes.
person. He was the first man to walk
That's
Cape
right.
to Cairo.
Yes.
He took 3.5 years.
I forgot.
And he
Yes.
thought we did it in a very, very good time. A for 5 months.
Yeah.
You see, there's Alan with his pipe.
Yes.
In fact, his pipe, I think, gave him great comfort on this trip.
Oh, it did.
Because when we got into trouble, he tried to light it,
Yes.
but the match didn't seem to strike. He was a bit worried, I think, whether we were going to make it or not.
Yes.
Oh, that's the derelict car.
It was an old
It's an old Ford.
You see, it's bent its axle.
Yes, and look at that back wheel.
Yes.
I was elated because I was in Northern Rhodesia.
Yes, you
That's
were.
right.
You were
So
back
that was
in,
my, sort of...
You were back in your own country, yes. That's right. Now, you see the corrugation on the road here, and then quite suddenly we're on tarmac, look.
Yes.
And he's telling the car, look, tarmac, and then here the Victoria Falls.
That's right, yes.
The natives call it the smoke that thunders.
That's right.
It's a very descriptive name, I think. So now this is the Devil's Cataract. I think it's the most frightening thing I've looked at, because you're looking down over 400 feet.
Straight down.
You see, look at that boiling thing. If you fell in there, well, then
You've had it.
And I think I wouldn't have the nerve to do it now. Stand so near the edges there. No,
There's Alan in the rainforest.
Still got his pipe going.
Yes,
White
he's quite
topi.
happy now. He's got a bit more spring in him.
Yes.
Yes, we're getting near
Bouncing now.
civilization, you see. I think we might just do it.
Oh, this is a rugby match.
This was Australia were touring. They were playing Rhodesia.
That's right. We were getting more into civilization
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
Because the ground was as hard as rock. You see the crowds.
Oh, yes. All whites.
All right.
That's when Southern Rhodesia were really at its best.
Yes.
Almost there. The 13,000-mile journey took 5 months and 1 week. 450 gallons of petrol, 15 gallons of oil, 10 tires, and 13 springs.
We're getting rather excited because we thought, well, Cape Town's only 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
We
1,000 miles
all-
to
What's
us.
1,000 miles?
What's 1,000 miles
know.
between friends at this stage?
Yeah.
Yes, that's Johannesburg, isn't it?
Is that you?
Yes, that's
Yes,
the town
that's
hall.
the town hall.
People showing a great interest looking at the car.
That's right.
Everybody's very interested in cars at that particular time because vast distances in South Africa are travelled by cars, and any car that achieved what we've done in that particular trip was great interest
Yes.
to the
Such
people.
a small car.
Yes.
A
There we
great
are.
reception in Johannesburg, wasn't
Yes.
there?
Oh, absolutely
And
fantastic.
then, unfortunately, we had run out of film. But
Yes.
we got to Cape Town about 2 weeks later, wasn't
About
it?
2 weeks later,
And we had
yes.
another wonderful
We still had to
reception
do
there.
1,000 miles, you know,
Oh, yes,
from Johannesburg to Cape
it
Town.
wasn't all
Quite
that
a way
easy.
to
But
go.
it was,
But we
it
made
felt
it.
nothing to us because we'd got back into civilization again. Well, that's it. It's very good. I did enjoy it.
Very good
Well,
film.
there was a bit more, of course, wasn't there? We
Yes.
did get to the
What
Cape.
happened to you in the end?
Well, we got to the Cape and we were received very well indeed. And we decided to take the car back on the mail boat.
That's right.
And present her to the
Morris
people.
Motors.
Yes.
Yes, well, then we had to go our own ways, you see. I wanted to get back onto a nursery job or into agriculture. Walter wanted to get back to his flying.
And to meet him now, after 45 years without seeing him, was quite a thrill.
Yes.
And I think that we had a great successful. I think we tried to promote motoring in certain
We did
parts of
our
Africa,
best,
which
yes,
was quite
we did.
impossible.
I know, because
particular
there
time.
were all these big American cars. There were Chevrolets and Buicks. And
And we enjoyed the trip.
Yeah.
We got on extremely well.
It was a great
And,
friendship.
and to know, I mean, the big thing is to think that we were so mad to do this in this little perambulator,
I know.
which it was. I mean, today it is fantastic to think that car would take the two of us and our water and our petrol.
It's wonderful.
All that long way.
That way.
Yes.
And I'll never forget at the end, Walter, you know, you were just enthusing. You were always a bit more enthusiastic than me. I was a bit phlegmatic, being half a Scotch, you see. And you said, for God's sake, Alan, we've motored all the way across the Africa in this little pram, and all you do there is to stand there sucking that bloody pipe.
Sadly, Alan Gilg died just before this documentary was completed.